Hello, everybody. We are here today, joined by Don Ray, who is the secretary with the PGA of America, and also is the owner and operator of a golf course in Mesa, Arizona. Don, thanks for joining us today. How's it going?
Cap, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about something that's become near and dear to my heart. So, yeah, let's get it going.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're excited to talk about the work with the PGA and the American Development Model. But before we get into all that, Don, can you just explain a little bit about your role and what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis with the PGA?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'm a owner operator of a par 61 golf course, so it's open to the public out here in Mesa, Arizona. So we're all about growing the game, regardless of age. As secretary of the PGA of America, certainly largest sports organization in the world with 28,000 members. And just represent that at the secretary level. The way the PGA works is in 2 years, I'll be the vice president, and 2 years after that, I'll be the president. So once you get in the chairs, you're kind of on your way up. But really, I just see my role as the secretary is to promote this game. As long as we're growing the game, our members will be well served, and that's what we're trying to do. And that's why the ADM is something that's really close to my heart because I've seen its impact.
Gotcha. Very interesting. Uh, and tennis and golf, they're always sort of seen as complementary sports in a lot of ways, and certainly during the pandemic, with both of them being inherently, socially distanced sports. Uh, I've kind of seen a bit of a boom and an uptick in the recreational numbers during that time over the last year and a half. Can you just share some of your findings and how that's gone as far as the numbers of people playing golf lately?
Yeah, oh my gosh, right. It's been amazing for both our sports. The way the social district is just inherently wrapped in what we do. And then I think also there was this stigma for both of our sports that the kids who played were always really good, right? And it wasn't really a recreational activity. And I think, for golf, it was always about swing, stance, and score. And all of a sudden COVID has just unveiled that no, this sport's about family, it's about fitness, it's about fun. And that speaks to both our sports because it checks all three of those marks. I mean, so as far as COVID here at Augusta Ranch, I mean, we normally do 42,000 rounds a year. I kind of change my prices based on how busy we are, right? Last year we did 52,000 rounds, Arthur. So it's been crazy. A lot of new people kind of here kicking the tires on the sport. They want to spend more time with their family, but yeah, very, very blessed this past year in a horrible situation, obviously with the pandemic, but to see people coming out and spending time with their families, man, it's been a breath of fresh air for our sport for sure.
Yeah, it's been great. Same for tennis as well. I'm here in Manhattan, and the courts are always full. So it's been nice to get out there and see so many people playing for sure. And the same when I've been on the golf course, same deal. So great time for golf and tennis for sure. And as I mentioned, the American Development Model is what we really wanted to get into today. And of course, in tennis, with the USTA, we definitely subscribe to that. The idea of kids learning in a fun, competitive environment, making them well-rounded athletes, and then kind of progressing through the levels of competition at as much as they would like to wherever they want to take that competition. Can you give me a little bit from the golf perspective, a little bit of an understanding and the purpose behind how you guys use the ADM?
Yeah, right. I mean, it was probably about 5 years ago when we really started looking into it. Obviously, the Aspen Institute had come out with all of these reports based on science of behavioral developmental of kids, and they were looking at sports. The United States Olympic Committee had said we're finding out that kids who specialize in one sport aren't becoming good Olympic athletes. It's actually the kids who play a variety of sports are the best Olympic athletes. And wow, that was an eye opener. And I know Canada looked into this, but as far as in golf, as the PGA of America, we got into it right away for a variety of reasons. Some we already touched on that sometimes our younger golfers, the ones who show some talent, are then shipped all over the United States to play in high competition tournaments at regardless of age, just because they can shoot a 36 and even par on 9 holes. All of a sudden they're traveling the United States to play in tournaments because they're looking for college scholarships. They're looking to be a pro someday. Heck, they're looking to play in the Olympics someday in golf. And so I think when the USOC came to us, we said, okay, well, let's look at that. And we looked at other sports and what they were doing. And it just became apparent with all the science, with all the doctors telling us, this wasn't the PGA saying, hey, this is what we think. It was the PGA being receptive to the science and saying, okay, parents and kids, this is what we're going to do. We've looked at the science, and there's ages and stages of where you should be. When you start competitively, when you're just playing for fun, when you can ramp up practice times, when you can go cross state lines to play in another tournament. And so when we looked at PGA Junior League, we actually, which is a successful program for golf, we actually modified it a little bit because it didn't fit into the ADM guidelines. And so, yeah, I think golf, we've embraced it. We believe in it. I guess, Arthur, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, as a father of an 18-year-old daughter now who's going to college, who played club softball, and she was on a really good club softball team. I would say 70% of the girls on her really good softball team don't play softball anymore. They either have an injury like my daughter, or they got burned out. They didn't know it, but they got burned out on the sport.
Right.
And man, how many times I tried to tell that coach that they should be playing multiple sports. I just couldn't get the message through. So with golf, we don't mind being the leaders and showing parents and kids that the ADM is real and it works.
Interesting. And you mentioned you had some changes to your junior competitive pathway. Can you share a little bit about that and how you've kind of infused ADM into that?
Yeah, I'll make it real for you. I mean, this year, the PGA of America was able to sign a deal where our PGA Junior League Championship is going to be on live television. So ESPN is going to broadcast the PGA Junior League Championship. Well, we used to allow 7, 8, 9-year-olds, if they were good enough to be on the all-star team, they were good enough to play in the national championship. Mm-hmm. And so as we looked at that, the ADM, they are guidelines, and you really, technically, you could have said, well, where do you go? Is it just 12-year-olds, kind of like Little League Baseball? We did say, you know what? No 9-year-olds. We're not going to allow 9-year-olds to play in our all-star season of PGA Junior League. And we've had tremendous pushback by some of the coaches. But the science doesn't lie, Arthur. And we've stuck to our guns and said, you know what? That's the way it's going to be this year. If you're not 10 years old or older, you're not going to be on the all-star team and play in our national championship, because we understand the ramifications of live television. So PGA Junior League's always been about fun, and certainly it is. And we have multiple seasons to do that. Mm-hmm. But in the championship season, in the all-star season, we made the move to not allow 9-year-olds. And we know it's for the greater good of all those kids out there and for their development. But certainly some of those captains and coaches are pushing back a little bit, but that's okay because we know it's right.
Gotcha. And how do you strike the balance between the fun nature of it and the competitive and serious nature, and kind of play with both of those things at the same time? How do you find that balance works out in your experience?
Yeah, that's what's cool about the golf ADM, or all the ADMs of all the sports that are out there, is that it's always about fun. Even when you're competing at the high level, you better be having fun. But certainly going to put more emphasis on fun at the younger levels. And so even PGA Junior League, right? We've got 12, 11, 10-year-olds playing in that. We are focusing on, at the national championship, there's a players only room where they can get away from the parents, they can get away from the coaches. There's milkshakes in that room. There's video games in that room. The day they arrive, Arthur, we have a really fun kind of family event. It's focused around fun. So when we presented that to our ADM technical committee and said, hey, what do you think about this? We know it's a national championship. Kids are traveling across state lines, but we're going to focus on fun, which certainly a competition wrapped up in the middle of it. They were really excited and gave us their blessing that, okay, you are focusing on fun. Now, we do have a 17 and under national championship coming. That'll be more serious, right? Still fun, but more serious. And that's exactly what the ADM does. It's about ages. It's about stages. It's about developmental learning.
Gotcha. And one thing I always like to ask when talking with people from different sports is about transferable skills. So golf to tennis, I mean, for sure, you've got the, hand-eye coordination. I would say maybe the mental aspect of being, it being an individual sport, or a shot selection. What any particular skills you think you see that transfer between golf and tennis?
Absolutely. I would be, I love it that you get 2 serves in tennis because it's almost like a mulligan. But that second one, you got to get over, right? You know what? There is a lot of comparisons, certainly to tennis and golf. And, whether you're playing individual in tennis or individual in golf, or you're playing in a doubles match, right? You're still a team. There's a team concept in PGA Junior League. It's 2 young individuals playing a scramble where they pick their best shot every time. Mm-hmm. But certainly, I think focus, recovering from a bad shot. Everybody's got those, oh man, I didn't really want to do that. It was an unforced error. Happens in golf all the time.
Yep.
You're only as good as your next shot. The last shot you got to get away from. Man, is that something you learn in tennis and you learn in golf? And then certainly of always just being focused and taking that break in between points. Golf, sometimes kids are just so focused walking down the fairway. And it's like, listen, you got to relax a little bit and then zone in when you're ready to start that point or start that shot when it comes to golf. But I always think, hand-eye coordination, the swing of the motion of whether it's a racket or a club, I think there's something to that. Using your body dynamics, man, isn't it amazing how you use the ground, use the earth to hit a good tennis shot, use earth to hit a good golf shot, use your legs a lot. And so that's very similar. And so I think any kid that could play tennis, I got to tell this story, Arthur. Gabriella Ruffles, she's an LPGA professional right now. I got to play with her in the Pro-Am 2 weeks ago at the KPMG.
Okay.
Superstar tennis player. That's all she focused on. Wins everything in Australia and New Zealand, right? Her dad's a professional tennis player. At 14, she says, I'm not playing anymore. And she does it and she stops and she gets into golf because her brother plays golf.
Wow.
Now she's on the LPGA tour. I guarantee if you asked her what were the transferable skills of being a professional, basically tennis player,
Yep.
and then going into professional golf, getting a degree from USC, they are definitely transferable. Our two sports are absolutely linked.
Yeah. Wow. That's a pretty cool story. Amazing how you could pick it up and get to that level.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't know how she did it, but
Yeah.
it shows, the mental approach to either sport,
Absolutely.
but yeah, for her to hit 15, pick up golf for the first time and win the US Women's Amateur and finish runner-up the next year and then find herself on the LPGA tour. You don't have to focus on any one of our sports so early and so crazy. Just play a lot of sports, and eventually when you get older and your developmental years are ready, then you can start focusing on one. It's okay to wait.
Yep. Interesting. And how about maybe the long-term benefits, if you look kind of like widen the scope as some of these kids maybe develop, and whether they stick with golf or they move on to other things in their young adulthood, what did you say are some of the long-term benefits that you see from children that play in the PGA Junior League?
Well, I think it's just a matter of enjoying the game, right? And now we're coming out with a new product called PGA Family Cup, which just like PGA Junior League, Arthur, but it's the families playing in a two-person scramble. So now, the parents are on the sidelines walking down the cart path. Now we're going to put them on the playing field.
Nice.
And so we're excited about that. But I think at the end of the day, it's just getting kids to play golf and love golf, not get burned out in golf, because they're going to play it forever. There's always going to be a four-person scramble to play in down the road. You're going to play golf with your grandpa someday. To be honest with you, Arthur, I played tennis in high school. I love tennis. And, there's an ability. I love playing catch with my dad in baseball. But Katie and I out there on the tennis court hitting the ball back and forth, there's something to that, right? We're not in a hot contested 2-set match game, right?
Right.
We're just hitting the ball back and forth. So I think as long as you keep the game friendly and fun, because it's always got this fitness aspect, that we'll be playing it forever. And so if we can do that with PGA Junior League to get kids to enjoy golf forever, well, then we've planted some great seeds.
Gotcha. And just to wrap up, Donna, if you could maybe give a message to our net generation parents of younger tennis players, if maybe they're interested in having their kids get involved in golf and in the PGA Junior League, what can they do to make that happen?
Well, I think the toughest part of parents now is shuffling kids all around to all the different practices, in club sports. I can see the lure of club sports because you want your kid to get scholarships and stuff. But I'll tell you what, as a dad, as a PJ golf instructor who gives lessons to juniors all the time, keep it fun and play a lot. You practice too much. Gabriella told me, she said, yeah, I just got tired of practicing all the time. I just wanted to play tennis. She goes, I just want to play golf right now in tournaments. So have fun, play golf with your kids, play tennis with your kids. And there'll come a point when they want to focus on one sport. But I would say open their eyes to all kinds of different sports, because transferable skills, they'll also come from soccer. They'll also come from baseball and softball. They'll also come from even football and even marathon running. All of those things are skills and balance techniques and just being adept and hand-eye coordination that'll help. So don't specialize so early. There's plenty of time for them to take it to the next level like Gabby did. But just let them play lots of sports and always encourage them. And here's my final word. That drive home from a match, from a game, if the kid's not talking about it, then you don't talk about it. Okay. Let them have the drive home until they get home. And later on, they might ask a question. But don't beat them up on that drive home, because they just probably they're just as beat up. They don't like missing shots or losing games either. So yeah, be careful on that drive home. Be a dad at that point. Don't be a coach.
Gotcha. Very cool. Well, Don, this has been some very, very interesting stuff. I'm glad we had some time to chat here.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I wish you guys luck. I'm always here for you. I mean, I've seen this thing work here at Augusta Ranch and at the national level with the PGA, and you just got to stick to it because it is for the greater good of our kids. And isn't that what we're all about?
Yeah, well said. Well said. Well, thanks again. Maybe I'll see you out on your course one of these days if I ever make it down to Arizona. It'll be awesome.
You better. Yeah, absolutely. Come out. We'll have a good time.
All right. Thanks very much, Don.